Alright, I wasn't sure if we were going to get this today. It contains the main releases. But it arrived, so we're doing this. Let's see, if I do it like this, then I can toss it down here, put this over here, get it on the action. And then in here, it just sort of came off like that, but whatever. Before I go on with these, non-anime purchase, Legend Ultimate Edition, which is interesting. It's got the director's cut version on it, but I don't want to talk about that later. Let's go through these real fast. The Mystic Archives of Dantalian. Looks curious. I think it's Funimation and it's subtitled only. It's kind of hard to see anything through the camera. Well, I think it's DVD only, so let's just dive in. DVD 1, DVD 2. I do like the choice of colors. It's interesting, the kind of sort of rainbow stuff against the dark blackness something. We got Busou Shinki Armored War Goddess, the Blu-ray release version. There was a DVD release a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Ow. On the back, Region A, Japanese with English subtitles only, which I think is consistent with the old DVD release. And you got girls in little mecha suit things. For some reason, I didn't put this back in there. And then we've got Comet Lucifer Complete Collection, DVD and Blu-ray versions. Oh wow, this is really sticking. It's not stretching like the Sentai Blu-rays usually do. And I'm having trouble getting a grasp of anything just to open it. Just stretch it. Oh, that's one annoying piece of crap out of the way. Curse you, plastic. So I guess before we look on the inside, Japanese with English subtitles, Region A. They just dug up some serious trouble, now everyone is after her. Cool, mysterious girl anime. And I like it how characters are smiling. Well, okay, she doesn't look smiling, but I guess it means she's the Cinderella series. It's not like she's entertaining you or Sokka. Red, or green, red, and blue. Then we got green and red. Kind of makes it easier from a distance to tell which is which, but now I think about it, it looks like... Is that something other than a blob of lines? Is that maybe a mecha? What are these even drawings of? That looks definitely like a mecha. That looks like an arm. What the fuck is that? It's a mystery that could probably be solved by watching the series, or because I mentioned it. Maybe someone will comment. It's whatever. And then last but not least, we've got this Persona 5 thing. A lot of Japanese text on it, but I do believe I ordered it through Right Stuff, so... To keep this or not to keep this? Persona 5, the animation, the Daybreakers. I think that's something else. Can't think what that song is, I mean. Okay, so we got special drama CD, and that one says Blu-ray, so this would be the movie. Then we've got a bunch of Moonspeak. Take Your Heart. It's generally not a good thing. Define those numbers. They are so numbery. Is that maybe the manufactured number out of this many thing? That would be 6 million manufactured and 2 million sold. I guess that doesn't sound impossible, but the numbers seem a little big. And now here's the problem. Because this has this, do I want to keep this on here? What's the alternative? Why does it look like Final Fantasy 15? Persona 5 is the boy band. I guess that means that it's like 10 versions ahead of Final Fantasy. Whatever. This is good, solid enough. This is good. I'll just have to do something. That thing where I keep it. Well, it's small, but here's this week's anime DVD collection update. Last week I was not quite done watching this, I think. And I think I finished watching this, and oh, what the hell happened? I guess it was actually pretty nice. Not that it's the most spectacular thing ever, but still pretty great. I don't know what else to really say about it. Still more mysteries about more stuff that can happen, and of course that's because, well, if this is season 2.5, then there is a third season, but yeah, there's that. Otherwise, Nichijou has been my anime of choice to be watching. Somewhere on the second disc. Second disc minus 2 episodes remaining, I think. Something slowed me down, and that could just be... maybe it was a desire to watch some scary game-related stuff, but all that aside, Nichijou's actually been pretty great. There's definitely some moments in there that are really super funny, and they've made their way on the YouTube, and maybe everybody's seen it, but outside of that, there's a lot of chuckle moments, and you spend a lot of the show smiling, amused by it, and it's just been really nice. Probably not the funniest thing for me that I've ever watched. Maybe that goes to something like Full Metal Panic Fumofu. You know, kind of hard to compete against that, but alright, other than that, let's see. I did watch 7 episodes of Princess Tutu with a friend, and it's great going back to it. It's always such a fun show. Part of me wanted to continue watching it, but I also had Nichijou to watch, and there was all this other stuff I was in the middle of. Let's see, other stuff I was in the middle of. Let's see, Legend, I watched the director's cut of Legend. Now, I grew up watching the theatrical version, you know. The main way you can tell the difference is basically whether or not Tangerine Dreams is doing the music, because the theatrical version was Tangerine Dreams, and the story there for Legend is that when it first aired in Europe, it originally had, was it John Wilkins? I don't know, he did like the music for Poltergeist, if I remember right. He did the score for it. He has often said that it was his favorite, this one was, or maybe I only read that in one place and somebody was, because I didn't actually check to see if that quote was accurate. But what happened was back in 2004, I think it was, they found the old footage, the old music stuff, enough such that they were able to release that in the Ultimate Edition. There was a DVD version, and then there's this Blu-ray version which has both theatrical and the director's cut on one disc, you know, because it's Blu-ray. And because I grew up on the theatrical version, which had some of the scenes cut out, some compressed in ways, and then the music completely redone by Tangerine Dreams, you know, I grew up on that version. So what I can say about the director's cut version is I do like some of the extended versions of some of the scenes, but I guess I kind of miss the Tangerine Dreams music. It's not that it was necessarily better so much as it means that for me, when I think of the movie Legend, I kind of think of this kind of slightly surreal, vaguely dreamlike sort of thing, which I think it mostly comes from the Tangerine Dreams soundtrack. And I don't think the John Wilkins score was quite there, and obviously if I'm getting the name wrong, I'm just saying it a lot, but otherwise, there's a good chance a lot of y'all haven't even heard of this. You might notice a really young, like really young Tom Cruise. You might not recognize, well, okay, I know that actress's name is something like Mia something. It's obviously directed by Ridley Scott because it says so on there, but I don't know. I always thought Tim Curry was kind of the most notable character here, and this is probably one of his sexiest roles, I guess, which says a lot considering he voiced Hexus from Ferngully, who was also this somewhat sexual smog thing. And I haven't seen it, but I wouldn't be surprised, based on those two things, if he kind of played the role of, what's that person from Rocky Horror Picture Show? Which I haven't seen, but yeah. So overall, it was neat seeing a different version of this. I think for nostalgia purposes, it would have probably made a big difference to rewatch the with the Tangerine Dreams music. But you know, it's kind of nice to have access to both. I guess I mentioned that there was some watching of other stuff, and this was mostly. I guess I've mostly been watching some of Markiplier's videos because he tends to play some horror games, and I guess it's kind of started up because a couple weekends ago I watched Tattletale, watched him play through Tattletale, and you know, there's silly little things about a game like that, but at the same time there's these neat mechanisms in play that I kind of wanted to see more of. I felt more of, so I fired up his Soma playthrough, and I have to say, I actually really respect Soma as a game after watching that. I think it's been out for a couple years. It's one of Frictional Games' games, but there are a couple little things about it where it kind of feels, I don't know how to put it, but I really appreciated some of the elements of it. I just don't know if I want to talk too much about them because the game kind of doesn't reveal what a lot of that stuff is immediately, and then you just kind of see it unfold, and I kind of want to let that sort of thing happen. But I don't know. The thing I kind of like is also something that, oh, excuse me, that other people I think have criticized about it, and I guess different strokes for different folks. It's sort of like, I really like Tenchi in Tokyo over Tenchi Universe because Tenchi Universe felt like a not-so-great version of the Tenchi Muyo OVA, whereas Tenchi in Tokyo, while it did a really shitty job of having a backstory for the characters, it actually nailed a couple of other things really well, I thought. I thought the humor was ever so slightly more hit than miss, whereas Universe I always thought was kind of the other way around. And, you know, the ratings for both shows obviously shows that the majority of people think it's the other way around, and, you know, that's preferences for you, right? Outside of that, Pokemon. I can't think of anything too notable. Got a little pissed off at Battle Tree stuff. Apparently, I'll never have a team that's ever super satisfying, and I guess part of the problem here is, the version of the Durant strategy I'm using it had its risks. I thought it was mostly not too bad, but I keep running into Pokemon that are kind of impossible situations that you hope that you get out of. For example, if you lead with a prankster, what's it called? If you lead with a prankster, what's it called? Whimsicott, there we go. If you lead with a prankster Whimsicott, because prankster has been nerfed, you have the problem of facing whatever, it's kind of like Scruffy, or maybe it is actually that, or Scrappy or something like that. It's that lizard thing always trying to pull up its pants that obviously needs a pair of suspenders. But the problem is it's dark type, so you can't use any of your prankster moves on it, but both variants have something that will completely make your strategy bad. One has Dragon Dance, which means that if he manages to pull off 2 Dragon Dances, you're SOL. And the other one tries to throw out a substitute immediately, which you can't entrainment through, I think. I mean, I haven't tried, but I'm pretty sure you can't. So basically, either of those you can't really shut down immediately with Whimsicott. And I guess I was kind of reading online, and it sounds like there's maybe a slightly different strategy some people are considering, where now you lead with the Truant Durant because there are Pokemon that you just simply can't entrainment, and instead of having a lead Pokemon that is almost guaranteed to disable them, followed by a Durant almost certainly being able to entrainment them, instead you lead with the Durant so that you pull off the entrainment ASAP most of the time. And if you're up against something that you don't trust and don't think you'd be able to do it, maybe because they have an ability you can't entrain, or maybe I guess they're a little too fast, possibly, you have a Pokemon in reserve that you switch to. In this case, Mimikyu, because Mimikyu has the ability to be, he has Disguise, so he can switch pretty safely. And then they're using Red Card to force out Pokemon that are, if it's a bad Pokemon and it's attacking you, then that will force a switch, and you should be good. And then you just have a lot of stuff on him to disable things. And I have to say, that sounds like a reasonable thing to try. But I have to get around to it. And then for the Pokemon that they are doing the stat up with, they were actually playing with a Moody Glalie, which has an interesting option simply because, one stat goes up by 2, another goes down by 1. So eventually, Glalie is just completely powered. But, they're putting Taunt on it, so that once it's got a lot of speed to it, if you need to stop that fucking resting Walrein from just blocking you, then you can stop it. Now, they are using, they were also suggesting an ice move that has a 90 accuracy, which I don't like, but, with the defenses potentially almost maxed, it's probably not a problem. Now, instead, the nice thing is he has Taunt, so he can shut down all of it. No, I already fucking said that. What was I thinking? Oh, yes. The attack is guaranteed to crit, which means it hits pretty hard. But most importantly, it also, prevents a defense up Pokemon from, doing that stuff. So, I'll have to start breeding those, but, I'm all singles out for the time being. So instead, I'm asking the question of, what can I do to do other fun things? I'm focusing a tiny bit more on Festival Plaza. So if I get if any of my things predict good luck from missions, I guess I do some mission stuff, however much I feel like. But otherwise, I'm working on playing through secondary copies of both Sun and Moon. Right now, I'm focusing on Moon with the intention of catching Pokemon that will be used in a doubles team. And part of the reason that's needing to happen is yet another variant of, what's it called? Pheromosa. I mean, that, and it sounds like there's a couple of options for some things. Maybe a Celesteela, couple Tapus. So I'm probably going to use my Master Balls for those, since I just don't want to spend a long time trying to capture Pokemon that are being dicks. Maybe. That's kind of what I save my Master Balls for usually anyways. And then a couple of bred Pokemon, so, there's a lot of things to consider there. Pieces to think about. But, I don't know. First step, I get to focus on playing through the game again. And part of doing that is I played through Sun faster, and there are some things I kind of realized didn't work out, so I'm going to try something slightly different. Although this time, I think I'm going to get hit by first impression, because I don't think any of my Pokemon resist bug but not water, which is usually what causes that guy not to use first impression. Now, instead I'm going to, I guess I'm going to use Haxorus, because I want Mold Breaker to kind of break through sturdy Pokemon. And Dragonite, because he's got some really good thing. And now, of course, this means 2 dragons, which means there's some potential for snafu, but I don't know. I think it'll probably work out fine. For the 3rd Pokemon, the starter Pokemon, I'm going to go with the Primarina. Partially because I haven't gone through one of those, but also because I think even though I plan to have a little water overlap between her and Dragonite, she'll be bringing in Energy Ball and Shadow Ball and Dazzling Gleam or something like those 3. Maybe Psychic instead of Shadow Ball because the one guy has Night Slash, which I have to make a decision. Or maybe she could just go with everything but water. That would be stupid, but I could do that. So I'm going to do something like that. Something like that. Huh. But I don't know. I guess that's maybe everything I was going to talk about. Oh, I guess a fun shirt. I didn't intend to wear this for Valentine's Day. It just happened to be the next anime shirt in the pile. But it's thematically appropriate. Good stuff. So, there we go. I think that's everything. Y'all, have a nice week, and happy Valentine's Day.